like we're just going in a circle. We never seem to have enough money to pay our bills. We always seem to fall short.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can buy whatever you want. I can't even buy the new PS5. How do we fix this?
Wow, that's common among couples right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this month we're going to be dealing with that.
And talking about a house divided, family members can do that too.
Oh yeah,
easily.
Just to kind of bring that up, because since we began to do well with our finances, sometimes, well, your children, grown children, and brothers and sisters, and will come to you and want a loan or want something from you. And that's where it takes wisdom. Go behind the doors, and all of us are sympathetic to our brothers, our sisters, our relatives. But at the same time, we know some of them too. We know their way. Yeah. And so, we feel sorry for them. And here's the thing about as a grandparent is that we look at our grandchildren, and that's what emotionally decides on whether we help them or not. And that has been, one of the hardest things for us, because we understand that God is working in the lives of our children also. And we don't want to take the place of God. We don't want to be God in their lives. So there are times where, our grandchildren, there's going to be a hardship on them also. Now that takes a lot of seeking, Lord, because we want to do. We came up, we were poor, we made it, guys. I mean, we made butter sandwich, man. What is a butter sandwich?
Butter sandwich, jam sandwich too.
That's
two pieces of bread.
Two pieces of bread.
That's it.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that emotionally we have to be careful how our emotions get wrapped up in our finances, where we make poor decisions. So that's a lot of stuff that deserves, some attention, a lot of topics there. But just going back, kind of looking at some of the things that we went through and where we were challenged in our finances, and some things that we had to overcome.
Part of that overcoming is forgiving the people. But once you make that covenant with your partner, you need to kind of forgive them for some things, because you can't keep bringing up financial mistakes, financial errors, when you're trying to progress and move into a new area, into a new beginning, a new future, and all of a sudden, something go wrong or something go left, and you slap somebody in the head with you beat them up with the budget, because they made a mistake 10 years ago. You did that 10 years ago, bam, and all that type of antagonistic and kind of volatile behavior is detrimental to the progress of the relationship. I love the fact that you say covenant, because covenant does mean it's a complete thing in marriage. It's everything, and when you start picking and choosing what you're going to take out of the covenant, and think about that, you're taking something out of the covenant. And where are you putting it? Because if it's not in the covenant, where is it? Okay, so now it belongs back to you. What else you going to take out of the covenant that belongs to you? Because you really have broken the covenant. Exactly. If you have divided things, you're breaking the covenant.
Yes.
And so we're teaching on covenant now in the church, because we serve a covenant God. And so God was the first one to make covenant with humanity. He taught us covenant, and through him we have learned to embrace covenant, because the last great act of God was the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross, and that was a blood covenant. So we serve a God of covenant, and he expects us to be people of covenant. And we can't continue to be covenant breakers.
Right.
You know, we're covenant makers, not covenant breakers. You know, and we are supposed to be good stewards over the things that God gives us. And so I just want to encourage those who are listening, because really it can't be anything more than pride, the pride of life, the lust of things that would allow you to want to hold on to, or lack of trust, hold on to your portion of finances because you can't agree. Right. Mike started off saying two can't even walk together, so they agree. Well, you have to agree. The first you have to agree on, if the money is funny, honey, and it's you, then you need to go ahead and be honest. And if both of you have issues with managing the funds for your family, get help.
Get help.
You know, after this screen, I'm going to include in the screen access to Larry Burkett. He has a powerful ministry that he's done for decades on helping couples manage their finances and being good stewards of their finances. Because some people just need a little help. I didn't get that education. A lot of African-American families didn't get that education coming up because nobody, who could spell portfolio? I didn't even know. What's a portfolio? The first time I heard portfolio, I was a grown man in the military.
Yeah.
My parents didn't have no portfolio.
Exactly.
It was portfolio. Man. We ain't had nothing. We paid the bills. We literally, bill collectors would come to your house back in the day.
That's right.
They would come to your house. They didn't call you. They would knock on your door. And I remember the bill collectors coming to the door. It was a strain. I mean, it was 5 kids and an old man, a grandfather, you know, and so you got 8 people living in the house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, Lord of mercy, everybody trying to feed everybody, you know. And so my dad was working 2 and 3 jobs to make meat, man, and mama was working 1 job, and it's just it can get hectic. And you know, without that agreement, it's easy to fall apart. It's easy to just all break down. And so I think some of the things that you shared is powerful. If you can, I don't care what stage you are in marriage, you got to get a hold of it. You know, if you're at the beginning stage, praise God, get a hold of it now. Yeah. If you're at the middle stage, you don't got beat up. It's time to stop getting beat up and beating each other up over the money. Yeah. It's time to say, okay, I'm tired of the funny money. Let's go ahead and get practical and professional about our money, because this is personal as well. You know, we're going to survive and be successful in our relationship. That's a biggie. We got to get control of our finances.
Yes.
And we have to agree upon how it's going to be managed. You know, and so that's just powerful. And so I'm gonna let my baby say something because we done monopolized the conversation and everything.
You know, I'm just listening and I realize that there are going to be couples that are going to be looking at this and they're going to find it hard to do, you know, to put their money in one pot. And April, you mentioned about, I guess was it fear or in the beginning, you know, but you said you just trust God, you know, and so what I was wanting to ask some steps that someone that might be afraid, maybe, because in the back of my mind, I was remembering this couple, and that she was like, okay, you know, we're going to put it in the pot, and she just started, you know, putting her paycheck in there, but her husband wasn't paying the bills, you know, and stuff was coming, and lights were being turned off, and you know, and she just went through this whole thing. So what are some things that I guess I want to say what's some just little small steps that maybe couples can take, you know, like I said, because some women, I'll have to say women, sometimes they're just a little afraid because of, you know, especially women that came up with strong mother figures, you know, and so how do you break that? How do you, you know, I mean, anything that you can share?
Well, you know, with me, Angel, I guess the way I broke it you know, my first thing was I had to, you know, my confidence had to be in the Lord first. Yes, I love my husband, and I felt like he was going to do what was best for us as far as, you know, the finances. But still, even in that, it's just like before, you know, Mike got saved, I had to trust God for his salvation. I had to trust God whether he came or not. I had to live for God. That's what I guess I mean. And so I had to learn, and what I did is I learned scriptures on finances, and just scriptures on marriage, and back to one of the other videos where we would sit and do study scriptures on marriage, where we work together. And I guess that's the main thing. They have to work together, in that they have to, you know, like say, trust. I mean, that's the biggest key issue to me, trust. I'm gonna trust God first. God, you gave me this man, and I know you're gonna work through him for us as a whole. And so as I saw things, you know, like I say, as we started giving out of our need, and I saw where God was moving and he was increasing and blessing and causing people really to literally walk up to us and say, hey, I have some extra, can you have? And so those little things, when I started releasing, I guess, my hold on, you know, my fear of letting the money go, God was able to work, because I, you know, and he can work, and he's willing to work all along, but I had to get it up on where I released and trusted him, because this money can come, this money can go, but God's gonna always be steadfast. So
let me add something to that, because I think it's so important. First of all, when you've got a person who came from this way of life, and this person came from this way of life, and all of a sudden you're putting together, and all of that stuff is all jumbled up. Everybody's got different perspectives. First of all, need to sit down and understand your perspective on money, because they're all over the place. That's where the agreement comes in. And further, let's talk about money. Let's talk about how you were raised with money. What did you do with your money when you got money, which may have been a few times, but but still, what did you do with your money? How did you feel about it? My mom put $25 in the bank for me to start me off with a bank account, because she told me it's important to save. Lo and behold, I found out I was that guy that saw $200. Wow. I'm going to get me something, man. I don't know what, but I would get that money out, you know, but that money, that wasn't meant to go and make a pluck from, as we say, and to go buy something that I wanted, not something that I needed or to save. Instant gratification, understanding about instant gratification. We want it now. And to identify that in a marriage where we understand we can't have everything now. We're talking about a marathon. We're not just talking about a sprint here when it comes to the finances. And so that's the other thing that we have to learn, to wait and look and see what the Lord is doing. Sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you know, because it takes patience. But to be, everybody uses this term, intentional. You have to really be intentional about your finances.
You know, I would also recommend that they get Christian counseling, like Larry Burkett. You know, that's like a financial guru, someone who is professional when it comes to counseling couples on their finances.
What if one is ready and one is not? So
Now, see, that's the first step right there. That's the first step, because you know, because like I said at the beginning, everyone has to come to an agreement. And if this is part of the covenant, then the agreement. Now, if there is some distrust, that has to be dealt with, because you know it just takes a little leaven, you know, because if you distrust someone in one area, that could easily spread to other areas.
Definitely.
Especially if it's reaffirmed, you know. Oh, see what they did. I knew I couldn't trust him, you know. And April, you cracked me up when April said, "I love my husband." I thought you were saying, "But I love my money." But Angel got a point, you know, because if people aren't ready, because we had a couple that we were trying to get into some financial counseling, you know. But you know, if you don't really trust each other, how you gonna trust somebody else, even if they're a professional, to come into that situation? you know, because there's a lot of pride. And to me, that's one of the biggest things, pride. And some of it's kind of like lust. I mean, you got the lust of the eyes. I mean, there's so many things, instant gratification, you know, things that you want to buy, everything they give you credit, you just want to go out and get it, you know.
Right.
But I think the mature thing, and all couples have to get to this place of maturity where they humble themselves and they relinquish everything to the Lord.
Prayer. You know, you know, we say prayer produce intimacy. You know, when we're praying about our finances, you know, because we've counseled couples that, okay, they tried to do, I won't say try, do, you know, what was suggested to them.
Try to follow the plan.
But one of them just was like, they say yeah in your face, but then when they got home,
they found the plan.
You know, one of them was really, really, you know, and then the other one was like, you know, kind of stray or what have you. And so that was very disturbing there, you know, that when, you know, when it came back to us that happened to. But definitely, I would say that, you know, constantly praying. We got to pray, break that thing, whatever the hold that it is, you know, that is over them, you know, because there's something there. There's a and then you want to talk about that spirit of poverty, and a lot of times that spirit of poverty is a spirit of fear. Yeah, you know, it's a spirit of like you say, you want to hold on to everything. You know, so maybe that thing has to be broken. You know, so that you can trust God and definitely. Just come together, couples. Come together. Pray, hold hands, be real with one another. Just like Mike said, hey, you know, let's sit down, let's talk about this thing, and let's get on the road to, you know, to freedom, financial freedom. You know, let's get on the road.
And in some of our other broadcasts, even the one prior to this one, many of the couples was talking about setting goals for your marriage, and of course, finances is one of the big goals, right? Because financial freedom should be on everybody's list of priorities. Whether you go fast or slow, it doesn't matter. If you have a portfolio, if you have investments, if you have savings, if you have a financial plan for your family, the intent is financial freedom. Yes. Yes, one day, Lord, we want to have the house paid off. Yeah, we're wonderful to have the car paid off. Man, that's like getting a raise. You get either one of them two paid off, you don't got the biggest raise in your life, you know. We don't have to worry about that every month. And so I think part of it is showing the people the you know, there was a book I read, The Prison Door is Open, What You're Doing in Jail. You know, sometimes you got to show people freedom. You know, you got to show them that there is liberty and that there is this place called the Promised Land, that if you work toward it, you can get there. And it's so much better than constantly being in debt and digging this eternal hole. You know, I'll share this, and then we go on all day with this, but I'll share this, go ahead and try to shut it down. But my oldest brother had made up in his mind that he was going to generate as much debt as humanly possible. Because he had determined and he had this raw determination that he wanted people to cry for real at his funeral. Because everybody had to figure out how to pay that debt.
Wow.
Now, I hope he was joking.
Wow.
Anyway, the idea is you don't want to go down like that.
Right,
you know, you don't want to go out in debt. You know, and leaving that debt to your family, leaving it to your children, and you an inheritance of debt. You know, and then you leave a heredity of debt, and then it's a cycle of debt. You know, and you just keep this thing going on through your family for how long before somebody says the buck stops here.
Yes, yes.
My children are not going to be raised in this cycle of poverty. They don't have to learn how to navigate the system in this cycle of poverty. They need to learn how to get out.
Yeah,
You know,
break that behavior. You know, I was thinking about the character on Andy Griffith that got drunk on Saturday nights.
Oh yeah.
And what was his name? Otis.
Otis, man,
Otis, he knew exactly where to go, didn't he?
he did.
To that jail himself. You know, the sheriff didn't have to put him in jail. You know,
No.
and there's so many that can't break that habit. They're comfortable where they are. And that's one of the problems. This is the way that I've worked my money all my life. Now you're telling me to put some restraints on my money and so on and so on. And that is radical to so many people. And to be able to do that, especially if they don't see any benefits from that right away. That's the summertime that we were talking about. Now you work that stuff in the summertime, and I mean in the springtime, so that in the summertime you'll be able to see a little bit of fruit from that. So it takes some time for that.
You know, you invoke Andy Griffin. I'm gonna invoke Popeye. You remember Wimpy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wimpy said, "I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today."
Today.
Yes.
And it could be Tuesday, it didn't matter.
Right.
He gonna owe somebody. So the man lived a life of continual owing somebody.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Bible tells us not to owe any man anything but the love. And we need
Yes.
to all work toward that. You know,
Yes.
it's just part of growing up. You know, we were young. We did a lot of dumb stuff, especially with our money. And it took years and decades to recover. But it took a lot of paradigm shifts, changing our way of thinking, changing our behavior. And some of it came through the School of Hard Knocks, which is why we're doing these streams, so people can avoid some of those hard knocks and take advantage and be proactive. I think the millennials are probably more proactive than we ever were back then. They're more on point with a portfolio and trying to get their money right, you know, because they saw how hard it was for their parents coming up. But when they come together, something happened. You know, once they married, something happened, you know, because that independent spirit, you know, it's like, you know, mine, his, hers, maybe a little bit ours.
I know we're going a little long, but just real quick, don't spend $15,000 or $20,000 on a wedding.
Thank you, Mike.
And
For a few hours.
for a few hours.
For a few hours, man. You can spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 just on the dress. And be paying on that thing. I've always, when I counsel couples, I tell them, put that money on your honeymoon.
Yes.
And your investment for the future.
Yes.
Because it's something coming after the honeymoon. But you should have a grand honeymoon. I ain't even mad at you if you want to have a nice honeymoon. But don't go beyond your ability to pay for the honeymoon. Have a plan, you know, to pay for the honeymoon, but also to start you off real good.
Yeah.
You plan to start you off real good. You know?
Absolutely.
So that's just excellent. You got any last thoughts, babe, before we roll up?
As usual, great session.
Yeah, we just love and appreciate you guys, man. We really think it's been so helpful to so many people. We don't know how far reaching it is. We just found out recently that Croc, I don't know if you remember Crocker, way back in the day, man, back in the 80s, Hampton University, him and Cecil and all of them. And he was married, I think he had like 2 or 3 kids or something like that. But they're using this video down in Texas for their married group.
That's good. That's great.
And I didn't know that. And someone shared that with me, and it just blessed my heart. Just even making a full circle in some cases. And people. And so thank y'all. I praise God for you. And I look forward to the next stream. This one was really good. I don't know if we'll ever be able to outdo this one.